This is David Spiegel for MPTalks.com, here with Matt Griffiths, head coach of the new Paltz baseball team. Coach, last year your team finished 18-21, fell short of the SUNYAC tournament after reaching it for the first time in 10 years the previous year. You bring back a lot of players this year. How motivated are they to get back?
Extremely. And I think that, certainly last year was a disappointing year for everybody, for coach and staff, players involved. And it's one of those things where failures kind of give you a chance to figure out what you need to do to improve and come back better. But, and that's something that's been going on. But the motivation to come out and chart a new course this year is dramatic. Coming off last year for that reason alone.
Mm-hmm. And last year, the hitting was actually phenomenal, ranking second in SUNYAC in batting average, slugging percentage, runs scored, hits, and runs batted in. Right. This year, you bring back 4 hitters who hit over 300 last year. What do you expect to see from the plate this year?
More of that, and some of those numbers are deceiving. There were a lot of positives to take from last year, but one area we really struggled in was hitting with runners in scoring position. I think you look at 3 or 4 extra inning losses in conference and a couple others, and generally just a lot of games that were decided in the last 3 innings. So a lot of those games kind of come down to those clutch at bats at the end, and those stats weren't as good. So something a little bit harder to practice, but something we focused on, and certainly the mental aspect of it. We've had great indoor workouts in the preseason here. And the one thing you can really do is stress the fundamentals when you're in a smaller space, and once you do get outside, it's easy to kind of lose sight of some of those things. So we feel very good where we're at now, and we're certainly excited to get outside. Whenever you can get outside this early in the year, it's an advantage.
And pitching staff doesn't look so bad either. Coming into this year, coming in with 2 of the top pitchers in the SUNYAC to shore up the rotation. Chris Chismar, former SUNYAC pitcher of the year, finished 3rd in the conference among starters with a 1.84 ERA. Andrew Grand, who led the conference in complete games and shutouts. What do you think the pitching staff's going to be like this year?
Yeah, we're excited. I mean, we brought back, like you said, a strong core from last year. Chris Chismar, Andrew Grand, Chris Pies, John Schmidt. All these guys, Mike Pinola, we're looking to get real good starts out of, and for the most part, we have a good idea of what we're going to get, and most of these guys are going to give you a chance to win every day, and it really will come down to the offense. A staff as a whole, and Chris Chismar is, can be pretty dominant at times, but the reality is he can only pitch once a weekend, and he usually isn't going to go 9 innings. So a lot of our success is going to come down to our bullpen, and that's an area we feel extremely confident in, and I think that's an area we've improved big time this year. So that's exciting. Bullpens win games in college baseball, and I think they're going to kind of be our backbone this year.
And you've listed Anthony Repetto, normally an outfielder, as your closer this year. What have you seen out of him so far?
Yeah, we're excited. He had, his innings were limited. Last year he had a little bit of an arm issue going on, and that's kind of been taken care of. So he's a hard thrower. He's from a mental standpoint, he's the guy you want in there when the game's on the line, and that's the thing with being a closer. You need a guy with a certain mentality, and he's got it. So, and again, going back to the strong bullpen, and he's going to be a big factor. Whether it's long relief, short relief, but Repetto's going to be the guy where the game's on the line that he's going to have to come in and shut the door, and we think he will.
Who do you expect to lead the team from the plate this year, especially after losing Jake Cameron, who was arguably the best hitter on the team last year and one of the best in the conference? Right.
Well, I hope it's not just one guy. In a team sport, we're really going to need production, 1 through 9 from the top to bottom. So I'm hoping that we're not going to just rely on one guy. I think we're solid from top to bottom. We know what we are. We're not going to go out and try to hit 40 home runs. Not a lot of teams do that anymore. Our offense, we need to be more aggressive than we were last year. We can't be as I think last year we were a little bit too stationary on the base pass, and this is an offense that prides itself on executing the hit and run, being able to bunt when we need to, and again, going back to what I said before, being able to get the big hit when we need it, and hopefully that production can come, from the top, middle, and bottom of the lineup.
Now you have a bunch of newcomers this year on the team, a couple transfers, a few freshmen. Who do you expect among them to play a big role this year?
Well, there's certainly a few guys we're going to rely on, and we do have a trimmer roster this year, so I think everybody is going to have a pretty defined role, and whether it's being an everyday starter or being a guy that comes off the bench. On the top, off the top of my head, we have a couple young pitchers we're excited about, and Jesse Vimondi, left-handed reliever, and Christian Huertas. Again, another aspect of our bullpen that we expect to help out a lot. We have Tom Dykoff in the outfield, an exciting young player, fast center fielder. Chris Baltera in the infield, certainly going to add some range there. We have Matt Dixon in the infield, in his first year of competition. So again, with the trimmer roster, all these guys are going to have a defined role, and the impact they make as far as their impact on wins and losses will, be determined. But again, I think each one of them does have a role to play, and will be a factor.
Now, knowing teams in your conference from the years past and seeing their rosters this year, who do you expect to be the big players in the conference, and how do you expect to stack up against them?
Well, we're not so concerned with who we're playing the next day, so much as how well we're executing our own game plan. Certainly, you have Cortland; you pretty much know what you're going to get with them every year. One thing about the SUNYAC is it's a dogfight every year. There's no team that you can just win by showing up to the field. Every single game you're going to play is going to be an absolute battle, and it really comes down to the team that makes fewer mistakes, and can take care of the ball and do the little things. So we look at everybody the same, essentially.
All right. Well, New Paltz baseball begins its season against Baruch before traveling down to Virginia.
Yeah.
Coach, thank you very much, and good luck this year.
Thanks a lot. Appreciate it.